Tonight on Arisen Strength, the motivational podcast, we have a special guest. His name is Tom Exler of Courage to Shine. It's all about inspiration through awareness and motivation, so let's get to it because your time is right now.
You know I can't recall the day your dream became my life. I've lived an eternity with you by my side. You by my side. Like the sun and the moon I've seen, that your light reflects mine. And riding together we have conquered the skies. But for so long I failed to see the truth as I searched for a fantasy that lived within you. Said, how did you know that you'd be my angel when your wings were trapped into my heart? Where did you see that we would be wonderful and our dreams would live where we are?
Hello, I'm Shane Schultz, and this is the Arisen Strength Motivational Podcast. Folks, we do this show because we feel there are far too many dreams, talents, and capabilities that are being suppressed for whatever reason. Whether it be injury, illness, or life experiences, these are all situations that find us being robbed of what it is that makes us special and unique in this world, and that's our passions. Here at Arisen Strength, we encourage people to pursue their passions in spite of the challenges they face. Now, how we do that is with our three-pillar concept. Number one, we support. Number two, we empower. And after all that work, number three, we have the right to celebrate. Folks, that's the Arisen Strength concept. Our goal is to help you be more than the challenges you face. Tonight, we have a very special guest. His name is Tom Exler of Courage to Shine, but I don't do this show without my good friend. His name is Wayne the Hack Hacker. Wayne, how are you tonight?
Hey, Shane, I'm doing great tonight. Just a full disclosure for the audience, we're recording this show several days in advance. It's only Wednesday. Is it Wednesday or Tuesday? I think it's
Feels
Wednesday.
like Thursday, but go ahead.
Yeah, because I'm heading out of town for a couple of weeks. I'm leaving bright and early Friday morning, getting on a bus, traveling halfway across the country, it seems. It's going to be about a 4-hour bus ride Friday to get me to New York City, but then Saturday night, 12-hour bus ride to Charlotte, North Carolina for a couple of weeks of rest and relaxation, which I'll still be doing the show, though, because, we could do that.
We can do that. Okay, so you're going to North Carolina. So what's the deal there? Just going to see friends?
Yeah, I've got lots of different friends that live there who they don't know each other, but I know them from work friends, a friend from elementary school. I went to elementary school over in Spain when my dad was in the military. One of the guys lives there. Another friend, just known for years. It's going to be really kind of a busy week. But this week, going on, before trying to get a lot of stuff done, we talked last week that I was going to see my doctor again because of my blood pressure. We're just monitoring hypertension, I guess they would call it sometimes. Mm-hmm. And I was on a couple of different blood pressure medicines. Well, this Monday, a couple days ago, met with them and they took me off one of the blood pressure medicines because my blood pressure is, it's coming down and it's getting, I wouldn't say it's getting dangerously low, but it doesn't need 2 medicines to keep it low. That's for sure.
That is awesome.
Yeah, it's what a difference a year makes, right? We talked about that starting last April. I started losing weight, taking my health seriously, down about 175 pounds, a little over 175 pounds. And the doctor's office, they do a monthly newsletter, and they're going to do a story on me. They mentioned this back around Thanksgiving months ago that they wanted to do this. At that time, I think I was down about 130 pounds, and the doctor thought it was a good success story. He thought it was a good feel-good story, and their newsletter might be able to use it. So we've been trying to get that arranged. In the meantime, I've been losing about 15 pounds a month, trying to do it sustainably and healthy, following my plan and trusting the process. But in the meantime, finally did hook up with the person who does the newsletter, and we have that interview tomorrow. I'll do that. It'll be one of the last things I do in town. I'll do an interview with her over the phone. We've done some paperwork stuff to get it, pre-interview questions. I signed a media release. I dropped that in the mail today. Yeah, we'll do the phone interview tomorrow. And then maybe in a couple of weeks, I have an appointment with a nutritionist. They want to come in, maybe take a picture of me in the doctor's office, working on my action plan that I work on with the nutritionist as far as, what am I trying to do week to week, month to month to lose this weight. But yeah, it's all been very exciting. It's been a lot of fun.
How very cool. That is pretty awesome. I keep on saying this, and I'm going to continue to say it without being bashful in any way. I am so proud of you. I am so proud of you of what it is that you have done. You just took action. You took action off of the power of turning the thought and just ran with it. And you're just amazing. It really is very, very cool.
We talk about the pillars and foundations of Arisen Strength, and we do say that we live them, and we do live them. But, part of it is do what you can when you can, but just do it. It was last year was the time for me to address my physical health. You and I both know I've been struggling with addiction and mental health, just like you've struggled with addiction and mental health. And my physical health kind of was the missing link there. And that does impact the other two. I mean, you need a lot of balance in your life. I need a lot of balance in my life. And just the right time, I think I was ready to address the physical health, at which point it had gotten, pretty bad. I mean, between the sleep, I wasn't sleeping well. I wasn't breathing. Of course, 300 pounds overweight, 350 pounds overweight, perhaps, but, there's a lot of physical issues, but I just wasn't in a place mentally to do that. But it all came into focus last year. Okay, if I'm going to do what I can when I can, I'm going to do it. And that was a time when I could do it. And I took the bull by the horns and just been, really doing it. And it's been a long road with a pretty careful plan. A dream without a plan is just a wish. And if I was going to want to lose 300 pounds, I need to have a plan to do that. And that's what working with nutritionists has been really, really helpful for me because, like I said, we write up an action plan. We have monthly goals. We have things that I'm trying to do more and more and sticking to. And then I'm checking back accountability, have that going on to make sure that I'm staying on pace. And for a year now, it's been pretty consistent, 15, 16 pounds a month, very and sticking to the plan. And it's working.
It definitely is working. There's no question about that. I really am looking forward to seeing even more out of you, what it is that you are doing. I don't believe that this trip would have been possible if you were to be going in the same direction that you were going a year ago, 2 years ago. Even if it was possible, it certainly would have been much more of an ordeal than what it is that you enjoy. So I think that is very cool. You are rewarding yourself to be able to join friends on a trip that you deserve.
And that's what I got going on. I'm pretty pumped up. I'm in a good mood. I got a lot of positive things happening in my life. Do you have anything like that going on in your life? Anything positive? What's going on over there?
Well, I got to tell you, it's been kind of crazy over the past 2 weeks and even a little bit longer. We didn't say much about it. I have now become the podcast host of We Go Health. We Go Health has decided to make a podcast, which is pretty awesome. And so they launched that on Monday. It happened to involve my good friend Bob DeMarco of the Alzheimer's Reading Room. And so we're really looking forward to it. They're doing a series of the We Go Health Award winners of 2016, and there's 14 of them. So we're doing a special series as to where we're being able to bring awareness to a lot of different types of conditions and challenges that people are going through, and really doing it with some amazing advocates that are out there.
That sounds amazing. 14 winners. That was from the We Go Health last year. You did like 50 interviews of nominees, and what was that all about?
It was 47 interviews in 4 days. It was crazy. But I got to tell you, I had the best seat in the house because the people I was privileged to talk with on the advocacy efforts that they make was just amazing in my view. And I got to really learn of a lot of different things that I didn't know about. And I also got to meet a whole lot of different friends that I didn't have before then. So it was something that was really cool. And for it to now be turning into something even more, it's going up another level. I think that it's a great privilege to work with We Go Health, doing what it is that they're doing. And it's something that I really enjoy and that I'm looking forward to doing more. In fact, one of the advocates that I had interviewed in December for the We Go Health Awards was Ross McCreary. And that's another thing that we've been doing. We have been working on a new podcast, which is called Painfully Optimistic. It debuted on Speaking of the Heart Radio Network Thursday night. This is something that we've been working on for quite a while. Ross is a really great guy. He came to me and said, listen, could you help me be able to develop a podcast because I don't know anything about it? And I said, sure, I can do that. I said, what is it that you want to talk about? And he said, well, I want to bring awareness to chronic pain. And to be quite honest with you, it's like there's a whole lot of different things that are out there, but his is a little bit different. His is about everything that I'm about, and that is empowerment. It's about empowering somebody through what it is that they're going through. And that's why he calls it painfully optimistic. It's something that he's been working on for quite a while as far as his brand. And it's something that I'm really looking forward to. His tagline, Wayne, is life's more than pain. And so I think that that's great for the network.
Ross is a great guy, and he brings a real positive message. And I think people who like speaking to the heart, you're going to love Ross.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. So why don't we talk about our special guest this evening? His name is Tom Exler of Courage to Shine. This is something that I've been looking forward to doing for quite a while. We kept it pretty quiet, but something I think that is going to be really cool for this season with Arisen Strength and Courage to Shine. What did you think about the interview with Tom?
Tom is another one of these amazing stories, and people are going to notice when they listen to the interview, you're going to hear a little bit of the residual effects of a stroke that he had just not too long ago. It's not too bad, but it's enough that you can pick up on it. But it just shows how much progress he's made through, we talk about adversity. I think there's a big section in the interview here where we start talking about adversity, and we've talked about adversity a lot on this show. Adversity is one of those things that builds you up. If you're willing to face it and move through it, you come out stronger. I like to talk about taking crisis to challenge to opportunity. If you look at adversity as something that's a barrier that's stopping you, then that's not the way to look at adversity. You want to turn the thought. You want to look at an adversity as this is an opportunity for me to either use the skills I've been preparing myself with or to learn some new skills, because challenges can be overcome, right? So it's a crisis to challenge to opportunity. Tom really embodies that turning the thought and moving through adversity. But the stroke that he suffered a couple of years ago wasn't his first adversity that he had to move through, was it?
Not at all, because he was actually born with adversity. His tag with Courage to Shine is turning adversity into triumph, because he was born with bladder exstrophy. People may not know very much about bladder exstrophy, and we're going to talk about it here in the interview, but it's something that you really don't want to be happening to your child when they're born. So he literally was born with adversity. He actually had, his bladder was literally outside of his body when he was born. So he had to go through a lot of different things that only some people have gone through. Not only did he go through it, but then his mom started advocacy back in the day. This was before the internet, and she literally did an actual newsletter, and I'll let the interview tell you about it. This is something he is well versed to, and that is adversity. He knows what adversity is about. He knows what it takes in order to go up another level from a challenge that's given to you. And I thought that would be really cool to bring here to Arisen Strength, because we have audience members that are out there that are dealing with all types of different challenges and struggles. And no, you may not be dealing with bladder exstrophy, but you are dealing with what it is that you're dealing with. And it's really the same mindset. You really have to get to the point as to where, okay, just like with the Arisen Strength concept, using the pillars and the foundations, whether it be take ownership of you, or turn the thought, or the freedom of acceptance. These three things right here with the foundations, they are what it is that Tom used when he was very, very young. He just may not have even realized it, So, it was perfect. And so what we did is that we decided to collaborate together, and we're going to have a series with Courage to Shine throughout the year, where we're going to have a number of people who are going to be coming onto the show to be able to tell us about their experiences, and not only about their conditions and challenges that they go through, but what it is that they do in spite of what it is that they go through. And I think that that's really cool.
Yeah, we're going to have lots and lots of stories of turning adversity into triumph. And, I think that's going to be a great thing. And you're going to hear that it's going to be a lot of common themes in there. I think people who listen are going to hear the foundations. They're going to hear the pillars. They're going to see turning crisis into challenge, into opportunity. They're going to see all that in these guests. And it's going to be a great series. I'm really looking forward to it.
So am I. So why don't we get to the interview?
Sounds great.
I am here with a good friend of mine. His name is Thomas Exler, and I get to call him Tom. Hey, Tom, how are you today?
Doing good, Shane.
Awesome, awesome. We are going to be learning about Thomas for a long, long time this year, because he and I have decided to do something together as to where we're going to be merging our combined efforts in order to be able to make a difference for a lot more people out there. Thomas, why don't you go ahead and tell us who it is that you represent and a little bit about you.
Well, I represent the Association of Bladder Exstrophy Children. in the Courage to Shine, which is a website we're going to actually feature on here. And I represent also Jamie's Dream Team. Really, what we're going to do Courage to Shine. Courage to Shine and the Arisen Strength are very similar. Your motivational podcast is what I've been doing on the web. So we're going to actually combine them. So we're going to combine the ideas of Arisen Strength and Courage to Shine and get to feature the individuals on Courage to Shine. But we're also going to feature individuals that I haven't placed on Courage to Shine yet on the Arisen Strength. So in the long run, this is going to be very beneficial to all of us.
There is no doubt about it. I have seen some of the videos of these amazing people who have been dealing with a lot of different challenges and struggles since very young ages, and some of them that all of a sudden had to deal with them in their middle ages. The whole thing is, with Arisen Strength, it's all about inspiration through awareness and motivation. And I cannot think of a better way of being able to bring some inspiration to some people out there who are our audience that are going through a number of different things. And it doesn't necessarily have to be the exact same thing, right? It can be any number of different things that can still benefit other people to understand. Just because you have a challenge, because you have some different struggles in life, doesn't mean that you have to just merely exist. Life is worth living, and living with a purpose makes a difference.
That's correct. Medical information and people that deal with it can have a hangnail. It can be very important to that person. So we're going to bring together people that actually have had difficult struggles in life and looking for the purpose of life.
And the thing is, Thomas and I, we have a lot in common. We have been doing health advocacy. He's been doing a heck of a lot longer than what I have, but we also have something else in common, don't we? And that is that we had what amounted to a stroke in our lives. So here it is. We've got this man with us who is helping us bring inspiration to our audience. But you've been through some challenges over the period of time of your life.
Of course, I had a stroke back in 2014, and I'm still recovering from it. My speech is the problem. But I was actually born with a condition called bladder exstrophy way back in 1965. In 1969, they finally did the closure, and the bladder was not really on the outside, but they did the closure in 1969 and had a urostomy done. So I've lived with urostomy since 69. And because of that, my mother founded an organization called Children's Tri-State Ostomy Society, which really, that organization was the precursor to the organizations there are now. So when she developed this organization, they had newsletters at the time, which is really what we're doing now. There was about 500-600 people that were members, got a newsletter. Well, the organization was only small in Western Pennsylvania because there wasn't many people that would come, but they all connected through the newsletters. And then in 1982, I joined a youth rally, and that was a rally for people that have had intestinal and urinary diversions. And then in 1999, I actually did the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation, their camp. Did that for 3 years. In 2006, I actually joined the Association of Bladder Exstrophy Children. And really, this organization, they went out and recruited me. It was actually a small organization struggling. Now, it's an organization that's starting to succeed. We've actually had a president that just came back from India where they did surgeries on about 150 kids. So we're actually improving. And then when it went along, I developed Courage to Shine because there was a lot of people who came to one of the conferences. They were there, understand that all the kids had support now. I couldn't change what they felt back then. I can only make a difference at this point. So the short history of me, and really the medical side of history of me, because I didn't really feature anything else. But you can actually see what I do on courage-to-shine.org, courage-to-shine.org, and look me up. I have my history right there. It's really condensed, but it's at least a history altogether.
Well, the thing is that you've been doing it for a very long time. And like you said, it started from your mom setting up her organization. One thing that I noticed right away is you also have done things internationally. It stands to reason why it is that you know so many people who have gone through different challenges and struggles, because you've been doing it for as long as you have, and you've been doing it all over the place. I mean, last time I saw a video, you were in Australia. There's a whole lot of different aspects that you can bring to the table, in which case, one thing that I've done all my life is that I've always gravitated towards somebody who I can learn from. And folks, I can tell you, you, I knew right away when I saw some of the videos and when I saw some of what it is that Thomas has done, I knew that he was somebody who I could learn from. So then I started talking to him. And as we started talking to one another, we started realizing, hey, why don't we actually get together and do something? So that is what it is that we have done here. We are bringing the Courage to Shine and Arisen Strength together to bring awareness and motivation to lead to inspiration for our audience. So this is something that I'm really looking forward to.
Hey everybody, it's Shane Schultz, the founder of the Speaking the Heart Radio Network. Hey, make sure to join my good friend Russ McCreary on Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Time as he brings you Painfully Optimistic. If you're dealing with pain, whether it be physically or mentally, this show will help you know life's more than pain. That's Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on the Speaking the Heart Radio Network. Hey, welcome back. We're here with Thomas Exler of Courage to Shine. If you had missed it in the beginning of the show, we're actually going to be doing a series with Courage to Shine. It's all about inspiration through awareness and motivation, turning adversity into triumph.
Okay, so let's step back a little bit. Now, we got to talk about you a little bit here. So bladder extrophy, what the heck is that?
It's a rare condition. I'll tell you that. It's really rare. It happens 1 in every 40 to 50,000 live births. And if you figure that out, there's about 3 million births in North America. So what do we have, about 30 kids a year, a little bit more? It's a condition where bladder is born on the outside of the body. And why it's on the outside of the body? Because midline disorder. The bladder is actually inside out, but it's on the outside of the body. It's hard to explain that, but there's multiple procedures, and today newer procedures that are out will be able to actually repair the bladder and put it back in. But when I was born, there was no option of that. So I had my bladder removed at the age of 4. Now, I don't really get into that because with today's kids, parents, you don't talk about that stuff because they're dealing with what they're dealing with today. That's where I've actually been able to morph into what they're dealing with today. A lot of these kids will need to use catheters for the rest of their life. Small percentage of these kids will get continence and will not have to use a catheter, but a good 60-70% will have to use a catheter for the rest of their life. And realistically, that's the small point of the disorder. But there is another disorder that's really similar called colloquial extrophy. And it happens about 1 in every 100,000 births. It involves the opening, not just of bladder, but the intestines and female organs, if you're female, that are exposed at birth. And these guys, they have the intestinal and urinary diversions. Those kids are just amazing to me because if they were as old as I am, and I'm 51 now, the chance of them survival was about 50%. But these kids are just amazing kids. All they want to do is become kids. And realistically, you put these kids today when we're doing transplants and we're dealing with cancers that are very severe. When I was born, these kids were the transplants and cancer kids. Right. It's just amazing what they're doing. That is pretty much bladder extrophy and colloquial extrophy. And really, if you want to get in depth on that, you can go to bladderextrophy.com, which is the website for the Association of Bladder Extrophy Children. And we go into depth about that.
So what type of challenges go along with this condition? I mean, is there pain related? I mean, obviously there's the thought process of, well, things are different than what, my best friend is, right? Because you have that little bit of a self-esteem issue, obviously, sometimes. What are some things that go along with the challenges and struggles of going through these types of things?
Well, I say you will have some pain issues, and we don't know why that's happening, but at least in the you've had it for 20, 30 years, the colloquial extrophy kids, there will be some pain issues, and I understand a lot of that, why it's happening. It's really a chronic disorder. It's just like anything else. You have to deal with it because really you could have renal problems by not catheterizing at a certain time. But I have to say, though, majority of cases today that are born today will be normal, will be so-called normal. You live a normal life, and you know how we say normal. What's normal? Right. What's normal?
I have no idea.
Yeah, exactly. But realistically, it's going to be overwhelming. They're going to live a normal life. And I said, you know what? To tell you the truth, some of the most interesting kids, they got to learn a lot about life at an early age. They weren't as sick as kids with, say, transplants and cancer, but they got to learn a lot about life. There's something to be said about life, growing up in a hospital.
It's funny that you should talk about that, because there was a point in time as to where I was taking chemotherapy. I was actually diagnosed with liver cancer, and it really kind of hit me like a brick. It turned out that I didn't have liver cancer, but I did have something else that would have been the same type of treatment. But there was a time as to where I was taking chemotherapy, and I've said this story before, where I'm looking and seeing young children who are going through obviously just as much as what I am, if not more. And the only thing they wanted to do was play. It was inspirational to no end, but at the same time, it kind of made me feel like I was a little, like a little sissy of what it is that I was going through, because I'm like, oh, Jesus, I just want to go to bed and la, 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 la. Meanwhile, people are walking around with their intravenous lines and everything, and they're playing, and jumping around and dancing and everything in that sense. What you're talking about here, where this is a birth defect situation, a lot of people are going through a lot of different things, but they're finding reasons to have purpose in life. That's pretty much what it is. I mean, I've had a lot of experiences in my life, but that experience of going to, at the time I was taking the chemotherapy at the hospital, where I would sit there and I would see young children who's sitting down, running around, doing whatever they can be. And don't get me wrong, there were also others who were in the bed because they were so sick that they really didn't want to do anything. But if they could, they would, right? One thing that kind of comes to my mind when you were talking about the difference between what is now and what was when you were first diagnosed, what's it feel like to see the progression of it being different? Because there's a lot of people that is in our audience that are dealing with chronic pain, chronic illness, and they're always saying, I'm waiting for a cure, or I'm working for a cure. And they know that there may not be one, but they want to see progression, right? They want to see a difference over time for our young ones to be able to not go through what it is that they're going through. You've actually experienced this a little bit. You've experienced the fact that things are different compared to what it is when you were diagnosed. What's that like?
I think everywhere medicine's actually improving. Mm-hmm. There isn't anywhere that it hasn't improved. And I'll tell you, it's really heartwarming that you see it improving. It's not going to improve as fast as the parents or the kids they want it to prove. It's not going to be a miracle. But I have seen over 20, 30 years, it's really come a long way. And you've seen that with cancer, with transplants, with amazing things. And these things have come a long, long way. And I think you just have to stay with hope. We got to have hope. And realistically, we're not going to see a cure that's going to come and wipe everything off. But we're going to see progression. And the progression will come a little at a time. And over the course of decades, you'll see a big difference in where you've come. And I could say that with Jamie's Dream Team, a dream granting organization. Mm-hmm. You're talking about the kids that play and want to be normal. These kids are just amazing kids. They want to be kids first. Yeah. And that's what you have to treat them as. They're kids. They're kids, young adults too, but they're very interesting kids. And I think that's where you have to treat medicine. Medicine's come a long way in probably 30, 40 years. That's what gets me when they say, you haven't done anything for this disease. You haven't done anything for that disease. Well, research takes time. It's really heartwarming that you see the progression and the difference when you've been there for decades.
Like you had mentioned, research takes time, and some people might say, I don't want to hear it, right? Because I'm going through what it is that I'm going through right now. And I don't have the time in order to be able to wait in order to feel better. I want to feel normal again, right? Because everybody's got that normal word in their head. But the thing is that...
Yeah, exactly.
Here's the thing, what Tom is trying to say. And folks, I also need to mention, Tom's been in the medical field for quite a while. As have I. I've been in the medical billing field for over 20 years. I know the process. I know it's a process of elimination. And that does take time, like Tom had mentioned, especially with research. It's a process of elimination because if they run to an answer as much as that we want them to, they're going to run to an answer that they don't know what the variables are going to be because of that answer. And so they're trying to, be very, very careful. Now, it's very easy to say, yeah, well, can we have a little mixture of both? Can we have some urgency to the whole process? And like Thomas had mentioned, we don't see it. We don't actually see what's going on. But there are grants coming from everywhere about every single thing. And there are scientists and there are researchers and there are doctors that are constantly trying to find different things. Now, I'm not saying from my standpoint, it's not fast enough. I get that. I understand that. But, the bottom line is it's what we don't see that drives us crazy. If we saw the amount of work and the amount of passion that goes into people, researchers who are trying to find a cure about this or a help about that, or maybe even a pharmaceutical drug about this, you might have a different feel about it. But the bottom line is we don't see it. Right? So here's the thing. We have two options. We can sit there and we can be upset and we can sit there and think that they're not doing anything, or we can do our best that we can and we can live life to the fullest that we can with a purpose for ourselves. And as things progress, as what Thomas had mentioned, over time, you'll start realizing that there is definitely some changes being made. There's definitely progression. There's definitely improvements of which you'll all of a sudden notice. Now, I understand it may not be fast enough for you. I get that. So that's why we need Arisen strength within us to pull us through, to live life full, no matter what it is that we're going through. Because I guarantee you, folks, you are more than the challenges that you face. And that is what it is that we are getting across here. People can do some amazing, amazing things. And the people that Thomas is going to be bringing to us is going to show you that they can pursue their college career. Some of the videos that I watch, there's multiple achievements in scholastics that people are actually achieving no matter what it is that they're going through.
And I believe you just said the key of this thing. You got to live your life to the fullest.
Mm-hmm.
Realistically, when you're not living your life to the fullest, you can find every excuse in the world to bring yourself down. So try to live your life to the fullest and do more.
Yeah, and it's a slippery slope.
Yes.
You're talking to somebody who's dealt with clinical depression since he was very young. I know what the slippery slope can be. It doesn't take much. Matter of fact, I was talking to a good friend of mine. His name's Tom Seaman. And we were discussing just the other day, we were talking about the progression of the Speaking of the Heart Network and Arisen Strength and the things that we do here. And it seems like we've been doing things for 10 years plus, even though that we're only on our third season. But the thing is that we've been through a lot and everything. And Tom was saying, man, he says, you've taken it from the ground and now you've got it going in this direction. I'm like, yeah. I said, what's real strange? And he's like, what? I says, I could just as easy convince myself to go lay in my bed, put the covers over my head and just stay there for a month. And he's like, I totally know what you mean, because it's a slippery slope. It's like you can really be enticed to fall into that avalanche of things that go on in life, as to where it just seems like nothing's going right. It's really, you get stuck. You can't get out of it, whatever the case may be. It's really easy to fall there. And so the thing is that you really have to work at creating hope for yourself. But I gotta tell you, it's worth it. It's worth to find the hope for yourself. And that's what this show is all about, is to help you find the hope, to help you find the inspiration to make a difference, because it truly will make a difference in your life, and not only in your life, but the other ones around you, which then nurtures you even more. We're talking to a gentleman who has had a birth defect. Okay, that means from the very beginning, he was going through challenges and struggles. He's gone through the things that he's gone through, but look what it is that he's achieved. And we both have been able to achieve things in our lives. And then we think that we got things going in the right direction. And then, well, bang, it's this thing that's called a stroke that all of a sudden comes up and slaps you upside the head. So that's another challenge that we ended up having in the same right. But again, Thomas is sitting here in 2014. He had his stroke. He's now starting to make his move to start to do the things that he loves to do the things that he's passionate about, to continue to do the work that's making a difference for others. And that is what it is that we're trying to say. Just because you have a challenge, just because you have a struggle, doesn't mean that life's not worth living.
Well, and really, struggle is part of life. Mm-hmm. You got to do some struggling to make your life worthwhile. So if you have people you're talking to and people that are listening to this podcast, just take one step at a time. The people we'll bring on here, they have actually struggled their entire life or struggled the most of their life, but they took one step at a time. And that's really why we have Courage to Shine, turning adversity to triumph. Turning adversity, think about that. Mm-hmm. You got to do that to triumph. Our logo is a sun reaching out over the peaks of the mountain. Everyone in their life has a little struggle. If it could be just a hangnail, but that hangnail is the most important thing to that individual. And you got to remember that. It doesn't really matter what you've had. You've got to get over that hangnail. And we're going to make it through.
Yes, right. Exactly. Listen, I'm not telling our audience members, hey, listen, buck it up, get over it, get moving, do life as if like nothing is going on. No. That's not what I'm saying. In fact, anybody who says that will have to deal with me real quick, because when somebody sits there and says, get over it, they don't know what the heck they're talking about. You don't get over anything. What you do is you progress through it, right? It's about progression, not perfection. It's about making a difference for first before you can make a difference for anybody else, right? So that's why when it comes to Arisen Strength, we have our pillars. Our pillars are to support unconditionally. That means I don't care what anybody else believes or anybody else thinks. I believe you, right? I believe what it is that you feel. I believe what it is that you're going through. Now, there are some things, and there'll be people who will tell you that, feelings are not facts. Well, I used to tell people, here's a fact for you. I feel this way, right? And I fully believe that, totally, because there was a lot of different little statements that a lot of doctors make and therapists make that really, if they thought about doing it again, they probably wouldn't do it this way. Or because of the knowledge that they have, they think that it's just really kind of cute to go ahead and just say that little quick statement. But it's somebody who's going through a situation like for me. I deal with suicidality. You come to me with a cliche, you're in trouble. You know what I mean? I'm fighting for my life, right? I'm fighting to stay alive. And if you tell me feelings aren't facts, well, you better come with something else. You better come with something behind that to support that. And so I get what it is that some of our audience members are saying out there right now. You don't know what it is I'm going through. Yes, I do. I know what it is that you're going through. Thomas knows what it is that you're going through. And you know what? I could sit there and I could say, listen, I support you. I understand. I can't blame you for staying in bed. I can't blame you for not getting involved into your family affairs to where you go into different parties. I can't blame you for, not going out and enjoying the sun and the fresh air. I can't blame you for that. But I can tell you that's not going to make a difference for you. The difference that it's going to make is when you live life to the fullest when you can. Do what you can when you can. That's what it's all about. Do what you can when you can. There are going to be some days that aren't going to be the best. And they're going to be challenging. And you're going to want to sit there and you're going to want to isolate. And you're going to want to sit there and you're going to want to say, okay, look, I can't deal with things. And you know what? Every once in a while, that's just the facts of life. That's the reality. But if you continue to do more, and if you have a little bit bigger percentage as to where your life is more than the challenges that you face, then life is better. Life is more what it is that it's meant to be, and that is to be lived and to be experienced. And I'm not saying that it's easy, because it's not. It's work. It takes work. When we get to a point is to where we're dealing with something that's chronic, okay? The word chronic, and Thomas knows this, the word chronic, bottom line, means you're going to be dealing with this for a long time. So experience life, make a difference in your world, and that'll make a difference in other people around you, which will nurture you, and that'll make it so that life is worth living. That's what it's all about. That's why we're bringing Courage to Shine on the show. We're not bringing them then here for one episode. We're bringing them throughout the damn year. The reason why is because I want inspirational people on this show to help my audience members who are going through the tough times that they're going through. You know, I have good friends with WeGo Health. Okay, I have good friends with International Pain Foundation. I have good friends with World Lyme Day. I know what it is that's out there. I know what people are going through. I'm now doing it this way as to where we're bringing examples of what other people are going through and how it is that they still find a way to make a difference in their world. And that is what we're trying to do here. And Thomas, I know that you're going to help us out with Courage to Shine.
There's many people on there, but I'm always looking for new people. And if you feel that you can actually qualify for it, write me up. We'll see what we can do. And the same way with your show, we'll see what we can do.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And if you can't get a hold of Thomas, get a hold of me. I'm not hard to find. Trust me. Everybody seems to do it. Either write arisenstrength@gmail.com or write my personal email, which is shane.schultz@speakingtheheart.org. And I'll make sure that it gets to Thomas so that we can figure out whether or not that you want to pursue being one of those people that are Courage to Shine.
We want to feature individuals who have actually been successful in life. When successful, use successful as a generic term. It's not being the richest person in the world. Successful is getting on with life.
Yeah, I can tell you this. I've made a lot of money. I've made a lot of money in doing the things that I've done. And I was miserable. Between my addiction, between my depression, between my PTSD, I was miserable. I wasn't successful in my world. Anybody else who looked at me from the outside in thought that I had the world by the tail. But guess what? The combination of turning the adversity to triumph and being more than the challenges that you face, that's when you start realizing, hey, I own this, right? Because that's one of our foundations. Take ownership of you. Take ownership of your recovery. Make a difference in your world. And sometimes another foundation is you got to turn the thought, right? The power of turning the thought. You got to twist things around a little bit to look at it from a little bit different of an angle. And then you've got the freedom of acceptance. A lot of people that we're going to be bringing on this show, they had to accept a lot of different things. They had to accept some things that they couldn't do, or they had to,
and they can't change.
And they can't change. And sometimes I was just going to say that. Sometimes you can't change that. Sometimes that's a right now thing, right? Because I can't do this right now. That doesn't necessarily mean that you can't do it next week. Doesn't mean that you can't do it next year. You won't know unless if you try. But here's the bottom line is you can do amazing things. I'll give you a prime example. Listen, when I'm an addict, so when going to the 12-step program, what I learned right away was if I don't participate in things that are not healthy for me, I can do just about anything else I want. So what I decided to do, I jumped out of a fully functioning airplane, right? Because it was a life experience. Because I wanted to live my life. It's in my book. You got to read it because it was an experience in my life that was kind of strange, but at least I can say I did that, right? I have that. I have that experience at the time. And so it's like, this is what I'm talking about. Make a difference in your life in some way every day. It doesn't have to be something huge. You don't have to jump out of an airplane every single day in order to make a difference. That's what it is that we're doing here at Arisen Strength. That's what we're doing there at Courage to Shine. We're putting things together. We're making inspiration through awareness and motivation. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be a great year, and I'm really looking forward to it. And my friend Tom, he's going to help me do it.
Yeah, we're going to find new people. And I think that's where the interesting part about it is there's so many interesting people doing amazing things out there.
Really are.
Yeah.
That's what we want to make very clear, along with the awareness of those who are going through some tough times right now in helping them. Like I said, it's one thing to say, I support you, I understand, and everything in that sense, but what the heck am I doing for you? I'm helping you merely exist in what it is that you currently know as life, of which isn't necessarily working out for you the way that you want to. So what we're doing here is to help you, at least get the most out of it that you can. And once you start getting a little bit, then all of a sudden you start feeling it. And all of a sudden, look at our co-host here, Wayne the Hack Hacker. He decided to make a difference in his life. He decided to change his world. How he did that? He started eating healthier. He started doing a healthier lifestyle. The boy has lost 170 pounds since April of last year. 170 pounds. And it's just by committing himself to make a difference, committing himself to the possibility. He is marching his way. His goal is to lose 300 pounds. He's marching his way to 300 pounds. That's something that is amazing. I watched it myself, and our audience has seen it from just April to now. That is what we're talking about. If you start doing things, if you commit yourself to make a change in your life can become full, and it can become purposeful. And that is what we do here. So Thomas, it's been great to have you here with us. And I am really looking forward to working with you. I can't wait till we have our first guest.
Yep. We're going to have individuals, and these aren't limited, but just on my website, there's Alice Ambrose, Rachel Fisher, who's a college student who's actually gone out, got a job in social work. Tom Flood, for example. This guy is 80 years old and got the Order of Australia.
Wow.
And you know what? It was after I gave him the award for Courage to Shine when I was over in Australia in 2010. When you get a letter in the mail and it says from the Office of Australia, you're just like, wow. Then we have Brittany Freeman, who was this year's Courage to Shine award winner, a teacher in Oklahoma. She wants to adopt a baby with extra feet. Can you imagine that? Being born with extra feet and adopting a baby with extra feet. These are real life issues. They wouldn't have the option 20 years ago.
Now they can appreciate it.
Yes.
Some people who I've seen in on Courage to Shine are just totally amazing. I mean, there's Misty Blue Foster. I mean,
yes.
Folks, you got to go onto YouTube and you can see these videos on their YouTube channel for Courage to Shine.
Well, you know what? If they go to the website, there is links right to the videos right there. For example, Kristen Lupton. This girl raised £1,005,000 in the UK for a children's hospital. She did this and then won in 2006 at the age of 12, the Pride of Britain. At 15. It's amazing, when you have Branson calling up and saying for Virgin Books, you want to write a book. It's like, I'm only 15, but they got a ghostwriter to do it for her. And there's plenty of people like her.
Over time, we're going to be having more and more people on here throughout the season. It's going to be amazing. I'm certain of it that people are going to say, oh my God, I can't imagine what it is that they're going through. And then they're going to even be more taken back by even though they went through it. This is really going to be cool. Thomas, I'm really looking forward to working with you. Let's get this season started, folks. Let's get it going. Inspiration through awareness and motivation.
Make sure to join us next week as we have another great guest. Her name is Cynthia Covert, otherwise known as the Disabled Diva. But for now, I want to say thank you for listening to the show. Go on out there, live life with purpose, because your time is right now. You can learn more about the Arisen Strength Motivational Podcast at our website at arisenstrength.com. And remember, your time is now.
The sweetest moment of life I ever knew was when I opened my eyes and saw that you were my truth. Said, how did you know? How did you know that you'd be my angel? When your wings were trapped into my heart. And where did you see? And where did you see that we would be wonderful? And our dreams would live where we are. How did you know that you'd be my angel? When your wings were trapped into my heart. And where did you your wings were trapped into my heart. Where did you see that we would be wonderful, and our dreams would live where we are? How did you know that you'd be my angel when your wings were trapped in my heart? Where did you see that we would be wonderful, and our dreams would live where we are?